I want to start today's video off with a question, and that question is, do you want your discs to be environmentally friendly? Is this something that's important to you, or is it something you don't even think about? Before you watch the video, I want you to hit pause and comment your thoughts down below. I look forward to reading your comments. Enjoy the video.
What is up, disc golfers? Today on Iceberg TV, we have Clash Discs' newest technology. I'm really excited to share this with you guys. We've got the Clash Discs Planty Guava. The Guava is a 5.502 mid-range, and this disc feels really great. But the most special thing about this disc is that it uses responsible disc golf bioplastics. Now we're going to be comparing the flight to the Clash Discs Blueberry Glow Berry, which I think is going to fly quite similar, as these discs have a very similar side profile. I think the Planty Guava feels slightly smaller in diameter, and it also carries a slight bit more dome. But I think both of these discs are going to be relatively straight flyers. Now, what exactly is bioplastics? To my understanding, bioplastics are when they take things like seaweed, algae, banana peels. There's a way that you can tear them down into fibers, then you melt those fibers with different chemicals, and then you can turn those plants into bioplastics. So you can turn them into bioplastic pellets that you can use to make things like water bottles, disc golf discs, and other plastic products. And that is where this Planty comes from. It comes from more responsible plastic than this one comes from. So I think that overall is very cool. And one thing that excites me about this Planty is it actually feels really good. Not all eco-friendly disc golf discs feel good. Inner cores, I don't think feel very good. I love the direction they're headed. I love the sentiment. I love the intention, but I just don't think the plastic is very good. Probably the best eco-friendly plastics or recycled plastics I felt came from AGL discs. Some of their blends are of the highest level of quality, and then they're also made with pretty responsible materials. I'm not an expert on the subject, but to my understanding, they're pretty eco-friendly in comparison to most other plastics. But anyway, back to the Planty. It just feels like a nice, solid, semi-straight, semi-stable mid-range. So let's throw the Planty, and then we'll throw the Blueberry. Okay, she's actually pretty stable. That did not want to pop up and glide much at all. I did kind of throw it straight into the ground. Let's see how it compares to the Berry. I threw the Berry a lot better there. Let's go grab them and throw them a few more times. So if you haven't checked out one of these Berg Sport V4 disc golf bags, I do think this color is going to sell out pretty quickly. So if you are interested in getting one of these guys, I would get on one sooner than later. You can use my discount code, the link in the description below, and save 20%. Go click the link, check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Let's get back to the video. Clash Discs has been trying a ton of different technologies, and I definitely want to commend them for that. When companies come out with new discs, new molds, new plastics, really there's something that's already been produced that is basically the exact same thing. But now that we're seeing a lot of companies take the more eco-friendly route and expand our horizons to make disc golf, more eco-friendly, more sustainable, certain brands are going to rise to the top. And overall, the feeling of the quality of the plastic in my hand, it feels very similar to me to like a Latitude 64 disc, any sort of higher quality European style plastic. Any of those European brands, the plastic is usually the highest quality. Again, Latitude 64, Castaplast, Discmania, all those European brands make really, really high level plastics. And I'll go out on a limb and say that this Planty feels very similar to some of the top brands. And the biggest difference between these two plastics is this one is not good for the environment. It uses harsh chemicals and non-eco-friendly materials. And then this one uses more eco-friendly materials and is made from plants and is made in a more sustainable way. So that's my understanding of the Planty plastic. Now, what's really interesting about this is I actually like this Planty blend significantly more than this Blueberry Glow blend. Let's give them another throw, give this one a little more height. And I really felt like that mold was going to be on the flippier and more understable side, but it's actually quite stable and flies very true to the flight numbers. Now let's try the Blueberry Glow. That is a much straighter flight. So for those of you with fast arm speeds, you are really gonna like the flight of that guava. A lot of the 5502 mid-ranges, things like the Truth and very similar discs to that, they usually have a little bit more hyzer flip than you would expect out of a 0 turn and a 2 fade. And that guava is flying exactly true to the flight numbers, and so far seems like a really solid disc. And I'm not exactly sure why this is, but any dynamic disc or trilogy recycled plastics, Trash Panda discs, any discs that seem to be eco-friendly, and I'm not sure why this is, but they all seem to be more understable than advertised, or more understable than the flight numbers would indicate. But with the Planty, that is not a thing at all. This thing seems to be pretty beefy and very true to those 5502 flight numbers. And I think this Blueberry Glow berry is a great comparison, so you guys can really see the stability here. Let's throw it on a bit of Annie. I'm gonna put it up on the left side of the fairway and try and get it to just either pan out or flex out. I mean, that's a really, really great 5502 mid. I'm actually super impressed. And the last few Clash drops for me were pretty underwhelming, but that thing is absolutely awesome. And now we've got, I'll try the berry on a similar line here. Not quite as much anhyzer, but you can clearly see how much more moderate and gentle of a fade the berry gets in comparison to the guava. So if you are a berry thrower, I think you're really going to enjoy the guava. Then if you want something a little more understable, I would highly recommend the peach. If you had a peach, a Blueberry Glow berry, and a guava, you wouldn't really need any other mid-ranges. That is a great sort of 1, 2, 3 punch lineup. Let's give it a little bit more anhyzer and see if we can really get it to get a big flex here. Yeah. I mean, that is really nice stability, and that's how you want your 5502 to fly. Now let's do the Blueberry on a similar anhyzer line. I'm having a hard time anhyzering that berry, but you can clearly see that the berry is just 1 or 2 ticks straighter than the guava. And I really like how those two discs are complementing one another. Well, all right, guys, the Planty, I think, is an absolute winner from Clash Discs. It's stable enough to handle those anhyzers. It'll hyzer on flat shots and on hyzer shots. When it comes to having a reliable, stable mid-range, I'm not really sure what else you could ask for. It also has a good mild dome to it, which I am a huge fan of. That's gonna help you really stretch out those long turning lines. You're gonna get a lot more distance on those hyzers, and those flat shots are gonna push straighter for longer before they fade. So I think having a nice, stable mid-range with a good bit of dome, that's gonna really help you add some length to those mid-range hyzers, those mid-range flexes. And I think this is actually a really incredible mid-range and something that I'm definitely gonna throw in the bag for a little while to really test it out. Now, I've been bagging this guy right here, which I think is very similar. It is a old Innova made, I believe it's an MD1. It flies very similar to the MD1, but I actually think I like this plastic better than this plastic, which really surprised me because I'm not always a fan of recycled plastic discs. I'm a fan of using recycled plastic to make discs, but only if the product stands up to the products that already exist. Because I'm not gonna knock a great disc out of my bag just because there's a more eco-friendly option if that option's not as good or better. This Planty Guava is just as good or better than some of the discs that you're probably already bagging. And this is something that I think will actually be really popular from Clash Discs. And I definitely think it's something that's worth picking up, especially if you need a very stable mid-range option that's not like super board flat. Most stable mids that are actually stable are really flat. This disc has that kind of comfortable hand feel of the more understable discs, but somehow they were able to make a disc that feels understable, that flies overstable. Another disc that they make that has that same kind of characteristic is the Cookie. That's another disc that I thought was going to be flippy upon first hand feel, just like I thought with this guy, but it's actually also quite stable. So Clash Discs, Planty Guava, absolute winner. I definitely think it's worth checking one of these bad boys out. And I think it's really cool to see that not only did Clash Discs find a way to make a disc out of plant-based plastic, they found a way to make a disc out of plant-based plastic that's actually good. Anyway, guys, go check out Berg Sport V4, best disc golf bag in the market. These mint ones are going to sell out really fast. So if you want one, you can save 20% with my discount code in the description down below. Any Frisbees that you need, I would advise going to get them over at Disc Golf Deals USA in the description down below. I also have a discount code for them as well. You guys are watching Iceberg TV. I truly appreciate you guys watching my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video, and take care.